Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why we just got proof that Bill Belichick isn't loyal to the Patriots.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why last night proved the College Football Playoff Committee. Glad it got it right after all, baby. Speak for yourself. Starts now on Tuesday.
You never go wrong betting on Nick Saban. College Football Playoff Committee knows that. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings and Fox College Football analyst Joel Klatt. Let's start in Atlanta, where last night Alabama came back from down 13 to beat Georgia for the national championship after a frustrating first half that had one Crimson Tide player trying to fight his own coaches. Nick Saban benched quarterback Jalen Hurts for true freshman Tua Tagovailoa, who sparked Bama's offense and threw an incredible game-winning bomb in overtime. Here's Saban on the decision after the game.
I just didn't feel like we could run the ball well enough, and I thought Tua would give us a better chance and a spark, which he certainly did. And, you know, I couldn't be prouder of him taking advantage of the opportunity. We have total confidence in him. We played him a lot in a lot of games this year, and he did very well, and he certainly did a great job tonight. After
the sack, we just got up, you know, just took it the next play. And throughout that process, we got the ball. It looked like they were running two trap. The corner trapped on that single receiver side, and I held the safety in the middle as the over was coming. And I looked back out, and he was wide open. I don't know how Coach Saban found me all the way in Hawaii from Alabama, you know? So I just thank God he found me, and, you know, we're here right now.
All right, Cowherd, did Nick Saban prove his brilliance by going to little Russell Wilson last night?
Yeah, I think he did. It's very easy to say, well, I mean, it's obvious you have to bench him. Tom Brady had a miserable first half in the Super Bowl. And you say, well, he's not Tom Brady. Jalen Hurts is 25-2 and was the Offensive Conference Player of the Year. He had a bad first half. Clemson's had bad first half. Sure. Georgia had a bad first half against Oklahoma. Did Jake Fromm get benched first half against Oklahoma? It is real easy. You've prepared for 6 weeks, and you just say at half, we're going to go in a different direction with an 18-year-old. That is not – LSU's Les Miles a couple years ago didn't go to the bench. People crushed him. Nick does, it works. It's not as easy as everybody thinks.
Well, listen, Nick Saban is brilliant. He's a genius. He's the best coach in football, in college football. Bill Belichick's best coach in football. But I don't think this proves his brilliance. If anything, I think it proves just the opposite. Why were you playing Jalen Hurts all year? This kid should have been the quarterback a lot earlier in the season if Nick Saban wanted to prove his brilliance. And again, the guy is brilliant. But the conclusion I came to after that game was like, man, this guy's been playing the wrong quarterback all year.
Well, I don't think you could say that because Saban's game is not throwing haymakers. They had to throw haymakers to get back in. They're not normally down 13. Remember, they play we're not going to turn the ball over, we're going to play it safe, and Hurts is the more consistent player. So he's more of a flat line, whereas a freshman like Tagovailoa, he's going to go up and down, right? Like, he's going to have some great plays. He's going to have the pick. He had some brutal plays. He throws a pick when the guys are blocking down the field. So you're going to go up and down like that. Saban's not willing to go like this during the regular season. When he's forced into that position, he's got to put his chips in the middle of the table.
Quarterback next year?
Oh, Tua's going to be the quarterback next year.
Well, next
year. But I think he's going to be more consistent next year as well. He's going to have more reps. He's going to get some of those mistakes out of his game. I thought it was a brilliant move from Nick Saban. I really did. And this guy, in his last 2 national championships, has made coaching decisions, has made coaching moves that directly won the football game.
Yes.
The onside kick against Clemson 2 years ago won the football game for him. And then this position change, this quarterback swap to Tua, it won him the game because Hurts didn't have that in him. He didn't have those haymakers in him. And because of that, and because of a lot of other factors, but certainly his big game coaching ability, this guy's the best college football coach that we've ever seen.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jason. I don't think it proves his brilliance. I think it was the obvious thing that he had to do. When you look at what Jalen Hurts provides, he's a runner. They could not run the ball. He said it in his post-game press conference. I didn't believe that we could run the ball well enough to get the job done. What Tua brought to the table was now he expands your playbook, and he forces the defense of the Georgia Bulldogs to now cover everyone on the football field. So was it a great move? Absolutely. Was it a crucial move? Yes, but it was the obvious move. They would not be in this position of national champion had he not made that decision.
I think the brilliant thing about Drew Brees Sunday, he had no running game, barely had the ball in one. Great people win in less than ideal conditions. Last night he lost a left tackle. His quarterback was ineffective. He got into a big hole. He had a replay for Georgia touchdown not go his way. He had a player fight in the sideline, a player collapse in the sideline. He had 2 missed field goals. 2. Alabama was a mess for half that game.
Took away a block punt from Georgia.
They did.
Yeah,
but that 8 different things I counted this morning. 8 things went wrong that could have capsized most teams.
I'm gonna say this though, again, and I love Nick Saban, and I was glad he was in the playoffs.
Sure.
I was really
Yeah,
glad.
we'll get to that. Don't worry, we're gonna get to that.
But the left tackle they put out there was better than the starter. The starter was getting his butt kicked. It was a blessing that he got hurt, and the other kid came in and played his tail off and shut that down. Tua. Lane Kiffin has been telling people privately all year that Tua was going to beat out Jalen Hurts. Anybody could see Tua's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, and Nick was too stubborn and went with experience. And you know what?
No, I totally disagree. I think it has everything to do with consistency and the style of game that Nick wants to play. If he had his druthers about it, they would have run the football well. Hurts stays in the game the entire time, just like against Clemson, and they win the game accordingly. That's his game plan. That's his blueprint. This is more of the uncharted territory. He doesn't want to go out there and let a freshman sling the ball all over the field. That's high risk. That's not what Nick Saban does.
The NCAA only gives you 17 hours a week, and that counts the game. So you don't have a ton of time to develop.
They got to play Mercer.
For me, the fact that he went away from what he typically does was his brilliance. That was the brilliant
I'll
move.
do anything to win.
Yes, I will do I will defer to my coaches and trust what we have done when it comes to recruiting and our preparation of our young guys, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. Because when you're going from a sophomore to a freshman, you would think that there would be some drop-off. Tua comes in and he provides them not only a spark, but the consistent play in the passing game, as well as he still gave him the running game option.
I also do think that this was also a tip of the cap to Kirby Smart in Georgia. Other teams don't get Tua put in the game against them because Saban knows, well, we're just going to eventually run the ball just fine. And this was a tip of the cap, like, we're not going to beat them with our old game plan. We have to change. We're going to throw the chips in the middle of the table.
Hey guys, Jason McIntyre here. Before the show moves along, I wanted to talk to you about ZipRecruiter. Does your business have any New Year's resolutions? Here's an important one every business should consider. Make your hiring process more efficient and effective. This year, let ZipRecruiter help. No one has done a better job of transforming how you find the right talent than they have. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. Then, ZipRecruiter actively looks for the most qualified candidates and invites them to apply. They even review every application to identify the top candidates so you never miss a great match. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you. It finds them. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/speak. That's ZipRecruiter.com/speak. One more time, to try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/speak. Now, let's get back to the show.
Well, the title is Saban's 6th overall, 5th since arriving in Tuscaloosa 9 years ago. Some people, Joel, spent a lot of time before the playoffs started arguing Bama didn't even deserve to be there in the first place.
Not necessarily. I'm going to clarify that. But
last night's teams were clearly well matched. The game clearly exceeded expectations. Whitlock, did that win prove Bama deserved to be there?
Yes, and that's all I really want to say about it because I can't wait to hear Joel Klatt defend his position all year that somehow Bama and Nick Saban didn't belong in the playoffs.
I think you're mischaracterizing there's a misrepresenting of my opinion. My opinion was never that Bama's not good enough to be in the playoff.
They just shouldn't be in.
I think that the criteria is garbage. Selecting the 4 best. This is not the U.S. Open, folks. All right, we're not conducting a golf tournament where we're trying to identify the best golfer of the week. We're not? No, we're not. We're trying to allow teams an opportunity to earn a championship. Now, the fact that the criteria says we're just going to allow the 4 best, then did they get it right? Those are the 4 best teams. But why would we reward the 4 best when we can reward the teams that earn their way there? That's all I'm saying. I think the criteria stinks. Did they get it right? Sure, they got it right.
But it does, because there's 5 conferences and 4 spots. So the basic truth of this whole thing is you got to play eye test with one of them. That's the rule.
Absolutely.
So I have no problem playing the eye test. If you had 5 spots and 5 spots in 5 conferences,
Isn't it
then you just
different to play the eye test with 5 champions rather than just
No, it's not, because we have uneven schedules. The SEC West is brutal. The SEC East
The SEC West was not brutal, not even close this year. It had one great team.
Okay,
the East had one great team.
But again, you only get 4 votes, and you have 5 conferences.
So
it's uneven anyway.
That the standard of 4 best is not a great standard. It's just not. That's not what we do in the National Football League.
Yeah, but it does appear
you
they
have
got
to
it
allow
right.
teams the opportunity to earn themselves into the playoff. Alabama's going to get the benefit of the doubt, and that's fine. Listen, that's fine. Alabama's the premier dynasty that we've ever had in the history of college football. He's the greatest coach that we've ever had. But that doesn't mean that they should always get the benefit of the doubt when trying to select some subjective in the cloud 4 best teams
you may be right, but this year they're the only team without a bad loss.
Exactly.
They were it.
And for me,
I don't disagree, but allow them to earn that. They didn't win their state championship. They didn't win their division championship. See, it always gets pit like, well, who are you arguing for? Who are you arguing against? I'm just telling you. The standard of 4 best is a poor standard. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm not discounting that, but that's what we have now.
Right.
5 conferences, 4 best.
And I get what you're saying, but I disagree in the sense of Alabama has afforded themselves the luxury to where if I'm on that committee, I cannot throw away what I know. Yeah. Regardless of what they are right now, I cannot throw that away.
Time out.
I agree.
Joe, I can't throw that away.
Well, but in the NFL, I can't throw away the fact that I knew the Bills weren't as good as the San Francisco 49ers, but I can't just retroactively say, hey, San Francisco with Jimmy G, they're one of the 8 best teams in this. Let's just move them over.
We can't compare that because the process is in the NFL.
That's what I'm trying to say is the process is a bad process. That's all I'm arguing. I'm not arguing against Alabama.
Wins and losses, and it's strength of schedule pending on who you've beat and who they've beat, and it's do we have the advantage? So it's going to work itself out. When you have, let's say, a tiebreaker, you're going to go with the eye test, and you're going to go with, well, shoot, this is a team that they do it every single year.
The NFL never applies the eye test.
And then
never,
when you
why are we bringing the NFL in?
Because
it has nothing to do with
it.
this.
It does. You asked me, did they deserve to be there? All I'm telling you is that the standard by which we try to include teams in the playoff is a poor standard.
Yes,
do they deserve it based on the 4 best? Yeah, you bet.
We all
how
agree.
Is that the standard?
It's like this. It's like denying poverty. It's awful, but it's part of the country. We try to solve it, not as bad as it used to be.
Well, that's all I'm trying to do is solve a poor standard.
But we can't solve it on this set. So what we have now is 4 spots and 5 conferences.
You guys have said that I was arguing that Bama didn't deserve to go.
You were?
Based on the standard that was given to the committee, they probably got it right. Do I think that standard is correct? No.
Okay,
I don't think that standard is correct.
But I want to argue on your terms because it's about earn.
Right.
Earn.
Right.
How are you going to tell me Alabama with 1 loss to a great Auburn team didn't earn a right to play in the playoffs?
I don't know.
And Ohio State got their they got beat up by Iowa. They got beat up by Oklahoma. You earned. Your definition of who earned it may be different than mine and the committee's.
Now you're trying to make this about 2 individual teams. Was there a good option at 4? No, there was not a good option. No resume was very good. Was Alabama a very good resume? No, they weren't. Were they a great team? Yes, they were.
How was the resume not
late.
Good?
They didn't have 1 top 16 win. They only played 1 top 16 team, and they got beat. They were 0-1 before the playoff against the top 16, while Ohio State had 3 wins against the top 16. They played 9 Power 5 games. Ohio State State played 11, USC played 12.
But
I can go on and on about those metrics. All I'm saying is Bama's one of the 4 best. They deserve the national championship based on the standard with which we crown a champion now. I'm telling you that that standard is not a great standard.
Okay, it's not. But my most important thing has always been, if you get blown out, generally, you ain't a title team.
I'm not arguing for Ohio State. See, that's the thing. You're trying to bring in an anti-Ohio State argument. I'm not arguing for Ohio State. I'm telling you,
want a UCF
the standard of 4 best is a poor standard.
You want Central Florida in the tournament?
Did you go to that parade? It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Welcome back, Greg Jennings, joined now by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez. We only get him a couple of days a week, Whitlock. We got to use this guy. Let's move to another rich guy, John Gruden. After a week of breathless reporting and wild speculation, baby, he was introduced today finally as the Raiders' new coach. Bringing Gruden back to the NFL after almost a decade in the booth, not surprisingly, the coach offered an upbeat message to Raider Nation.
I'd just like to say I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to unite with them. I never wanted to leave. I'm thrilled to be back. I have a great opportunity, and I plan on doing everything I can with this opportunity. And let's go, man. That's what I say to Raider Nation. Let's get going. Let's quit talking here, and let's get to work.
Whitlock, the Raiders, do they look desperate bringing Gruden back?
No, they look committed. They look smart. They look like somebody that wants to win championships again. What they've 2 playoff appearances since he left. I think it's the right thing to do.
Feels like 75% marketing, 25% coach. Were the other candidates out of the league 9 years? Were the other candidates TV stars? There's a little marketing to it. By the way, last year the Raiders brought in Marshawn Lynch. Why? Because they've lost the city. They're leaving. They're lame duck. The upper deck's tarped off, so they brought in Marshawn. They were under the guise of he'll make us tough. No, he'll sell tickets. This feels like a lot of ticket selling to me. Doesn't it?
John Gruden's hungry, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be ticket selling, but I don't think this was a move of desperation. This is a team that looks at their situation on the field from a personnel standpoint as we have the talent, we just can't get over the hump. And we regressed drastically this year. Off of what we saw them, who they were last year, this season was a complete, utter failure. And so to have the opportunity, and mind you, they've went after him several times. So this isn't the first time that they've tried to get a John Gruden. He's been there. He understands the culture. He knows what it takes offensively to get them over the hump. I like the decision. And people talk about him being away from coaching. He's been in football. He hasn't been removed from football. Let's get this right. He sits down with every team every single year, and he looks at that head coach, that offensive coordinator, that defensive coordinator, and he's able to talk about everything that they do well, everything that they don't do well. And he's able to then watch a game and see and analyze himself what they do well, what they don't do well. He's been in coaching just from a different vantage point.
Yeah, do they look desperate? Yeah, I actually think they look desperate, but for all the reasons that you just so wonderfully said, this is a great move. I'm excited for the Raiders right now. Did they overpay? Absolutely. A 10-year deal for $100 million for a coach? That makes no sense.
Congratulations.
That tells me right there they're desperate. But they chose the right guy. This is perfect. They're going to sell tickets. The culture of Oakland and Vegas, it's going to go perfect. I'm happy for John Gruden. He's living in a tax-free state. He's going to get a lot of that cash. It's going to be great. He gets to go back to football. He gets to prove something now that before wasn't a fluke, because there's naysayers out there that say before, look at your record, you're not that good. I like this. And he's stepping into a great situation with the players that they got there intact already. This is going to be good. I enjoyed it.
The reason Sean McVay works to some degree is Jared Goff is talented enough to take his schemes, and it works. Dan Quinn's worked in Atlanta because Matt Ryan's pretty good. The one thing Gruden has going for him, the rules are now all offensive. Gruden's offensive. By the way, his brother, who he communicates with well, and he's got Derek Carr. The move feels marketing heavy to me, but there's a lot of things in his favor. His brother's an active NFL coach, and he's got Derek Carr.
I think the biggest thing in his favor is his ego. I think he's got a gigantic one, and he's not going to want to be embarrassed here. Again, I don't agree with the 10-year contract, as Tony said, because, you need some pressure on your head coach. But I think Gruden will put the pressure on himself. He is not coming back and going to go 8-8. He don't want to be any parts of Jeff Fisher or anything like that.
It is, here's another thing. Okay, so he inherits Derek Carr. Like, you can win with Derek Carr, right? The other thing is, he's been working this draft for so many years. He actually knows the college players. You know how successful Pete Carroll was coming out of college because he watched all the tape. There are a lot of things that tell you this could strangely work. And the other thing is the division right now. Denver doesn't have a quarterback. Kansas City's got a quarterback they don't love. Welcome back. Greg Jennings, Tony Gonzalez. You still owe me a six-pack of Modelo.
It's coming.
I still owe you dinner at Maestro.
Yeah, you do. I should have been eating, drinking for free for months. Reportedly, the Browns would have parted with the number 4 pick in the draft to acquire Jimmy Garoppolo, but Belichick never called, instead shipping Jimmy G to San Francisco for a second-rounder. That move carries new meaning since reports surfaced of tension between Belichick on one side, Tom Brady and Robert Kraft on the other, though Belichick denied those reports again today.
I have a great relationship with both Robert and Tom. And I would throw in there, since it was part of the article, I feel like I have a good relationship with Alex, too.
Has Robert, Bill, has Robert ever told you to make a trade that you didn't want to make?
Yeah, no, we've never done that. We talk about things organizationally. We make organizational decisions.
Whitlock, do you question Belichick's loyalty to New England after giving Jimmy G away for so little?
Listen, I believe in people's actions far more than I believe in their words. And so when the trade was announced, we were all like, man, that makes no sense, a second-round pick. And since that happened, information has come out that says, hey, there's a little tension here and things are rocky here. So the actions, to me, indicate that Bill Belichick has a bit of a problem with the New England Patriots. I believe this move is disloyal. Look, disloyalty happens in all relationships. That I'm not vilifying Bill Belichick, but I don't think he went out and got the best deal he could because I think he was upset with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of believe what I see, and the question is, do I question Belichick's loyalty? I've never thought of Belichick as loyal. I've thought of him as brilliant, cunning, smart, manipulative. Loyal is not like a Belichick word. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's I would say of the 20 words you give me, I'd say, I'll put loyal like 19, 20.
No.
Listen, I also know this from Parcells. He's a bit of a grudge holder. I've seen it. I mean, we have multiple reports. I'm not giving it to... So the Cleveland thing tells me he's a grudge holder, and then the Parcells tells me he's a grudge holder. I mean, like, to your point, I've seen a guy, he's not loyal.
These Patriots ain't loyal.
That's a great point. I didn't look at it like that. I didn't, when I was posed the question, was he loyal or showing that he's not loyal? I didn't necessarily care about the loyalty. I looked more at his motive and his agenda. But since you brought those up, I mean, for me, when you look at his relationship with Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, his dad, Mike Shanahan, there's a loyalty there.
Sure.
There's a relationship there that has been established.
Shanahan defended him to Goodell.
Absolutely. And so when you look at that, it's like, okay, would I rather send, if I can't keep him, well, why not give him to somebody who I care about, who I want to be successful? He's out of my conference. I don't have to see Jimmy Garoppolo once every 4 years. Hey, I'll ship him to San Francisco for nothing. I like that guy over there heading that team now. So I think he had an agenda, he had a motive, but his loyalty is with whomever he's with until you cross him. And I think it's shown with the players that he's let go and that he's sent off and that he's moved on from. He's not loyal to any person, to your point.
Yeah, well, all the players that I know, and I'm sure you've talked to people that have played for that organization, they say one thing about this guy. All he cares about is winning. And there is no high. There is no low. We talked about earlier, I think he rationalizes everything. Like, everything is thought out. And I don't think he makes emotional decisions. Like a Pete Carroll or a Herman Edwards we've talked about, or Mike Tomlin, coach, where there are highs and lows. I think everything has been calculated from the beginning. Loyalty is absolutely, I agree with you, not in this guy's vocabulary. It's all about winning. That's what he's loyal to, is loyal to winning and doing what it takes to be the best coach in NFL history.
So Brady, Belichick, Kraft's like an 18-year relationship or close to it, right? Well, it's just like marriage. There's a fine line between love and hate. You get angry at the people you love the most, not random strangers who cut you off in traffic generally. It's very easy for me to consume this theory, is that Kraft stepped in, said no on Brady, which is now being reported, and Belichick got pissed. And he thought to himself, bro, I doubled your net worth. You're going with the old quarterback, not me? And Belichick said, fine. I mean, here's the other thing that jumps out to me. Okay, they gave Garoppolo away. They gave the other backup away for nothing. And now, according to the ESPN story, they're prepping coordinators for their new jobs. They've never done that. Bill's not a guy to prep you to leave.
Well, again, I go back to Tony's point about he's loyal to winning. And winning to me will no longer be a concern for Bill Belichick as it relates to the New England Patriots once this playoff is over. And so all of his decisions are about, yeah, I'm going to be loyal to winning in the Super Bowl in 2018, and then after that, I'm a free agent. And so trading Garoppolo and all that's a 2018 regular season decision that I just don't think he's going to be a part of. He's going to take his ball and take it someplace, either go home or take it to the New York Giants or someplace else.
I'm 75-25.
Really?
I really am.
You're living in the mansion at the top of the hill with the Ferraris. You got the whole thing going in your favor. Like, I just don't understand why you would come off the hill.
Exactly.
Why would you leave that?
That's what everybody can do it again. That's what everybody who's not living in that mansion, in that hill, that's their mindset. But when you've been in that mansion, living with all these amenities and everything that you possibly could want, you get bored with that. You want to always have a challenge, and the only challenge is to try to see if can I do this without 12?
By the way, only one guy on this set lives in a mansion.
Yeah, I've seen it. He's in magazines.
All right, well, D'Angelo and LaMelo earned their first paycheck in Lithuania's Baltic League today. I got to buy my direct Baltic League ticket pass.
Back here, stay up late, too.
Back here in the States, LeVar earned yet another detractor, with Steve Kerr joining Mavs coach Rick Carlisle and criticizing both LeVar and his enablers in the media.
I've talked to people in the media this year. I said, why do you guys have to cover that guy? They say, well, we don't want to. Nobody wants to, but our bosses tell us we have to because of the ratings, because of the readership. So somewhere, I guess it's in Lithuania, LeVar Ball's laughing at all of us. People are eating out of his hands for no apparent reason, other than, he's become like the Kardashian of the NBA or something, and that sells.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Whitlock, as the media mishandled it.
I think without question from the very beginning. I feel like LeVar Ball is a clown, and I think he's been a clown from day one, and I thought too many people in the media everywhere love the clown show. Hey, LeVar, come on and be a clown on our show and drive up ratings. And I felt like everything that's happening right now with LeVar, from Big Baller Brand being a bust and being rated an F by the Better Business Bureau, to him being a headache for the Lakers, to me, interfering with his son's professional growth and all that, you could all see it from day one. But that's not how we treated LeVar Ball. We wanted to just laugh, and no one wanted to strongly question him. I agree with Steve Kerr, and I thought Rick Carlisle's letter that he came out with yesterday was 1,000% on target. We shouldn't allow him these media platforms without putting context and some substance around it.
That feels idealistic. The media doesn't dictate taste. We respond to it. They keep selling Big Macs because the public keeps buying them. Every time McDonald's goes to salads, they go back to burgers. We don't dictate this
There
stuff.
always has to be a line, though, Colin, or we should just run porn on this network.
Well,
if there's no standard.
It makes $9 billion a year. Somebody's watching it.
No, I know.
Okay, and if it wasn't for the FCC, maybe we would. The point being, we have a dad talking. If this is bringing down the Lakers, it ain't much of an organization. You got the Patriots this week, a 22-page article, coach, quarterback, owner. They're going to go out and beat Tennessee by 2 touchdowns. We're letting LeVar Ball? How loose and teetering is this ship called the Lakers? This wouldn't undo the Spurs. This wouldn't undo the Warriors. He's a goofball. How is this? It's a goofy dad talking from Lithuania.
I think there's a kernel of something there.
I'm the kernel.
Listen, guys. The news has changed over the last 20 years. The gatekeepers are totally different, okay? Steve Kerr lived in an era where the newspaper said, this is what you're going to read, and you had no choice but to eat it up. Now there are websites, and on our website, we've seen in 2017, the Ball family was a click machine. I know you guys don't want to hear that. Maybe it is a clown, and I would agree with you, he is, but people click on that. And we're in a business, just as this show is a business, and newspapers are a business, and they've realized you kind of got to change. It goes back to, Colin, you got little kids. What you want to give them versus what they need. They need the vegetables, do they not, Jim?
Well,
Okay?
they need they need the content. They need to have clicks. They need to have eyes on the TV screen. But it's more of a societal issue to me because of what's going on with social media. Again, we can all talk about Trump. We know what his past was like, but yet and still, whenever he says something, being the president, again, you can't equate the two. Even if it's crazy, it's going to be reported. I don't care what it is. If he's a figure now because of his son, because he stepped out there, whatever he says, whether it's a minor outlet, it could be Twitter, it could be some local newspaper, it's going to be something there. But I'm going to go back to your point. At some point, the organization, I don't care if it's Fox, if it's the Lakers, if it's New England Patriots, they got to draw the line. When they draw the line, that quells everything else.
But don't you just think it will naturally occur? Remember Tim Tebow? No, remember Tim Tebow, Jim? Tim Tebow was a scrub.
He's not going to stop. Okay, but you got to put in some parameters in there. You got to limit his ability to affect the team internally. What he says outside is one thing, but what happens inside,
Tebow was a
they can
backup on
control
the Jets and the Patriots, and we covered him hardcore. We talked about Tim Tebow endlessly. He drove traffic on the web endlessly. And then he evaporated, and he's gone.
No, he's back. You see the TV commercial the other day?
Well, I
okay,
did
he's
see
back.
that, yeah.
But Jim, to your point, you said you have to set parameters. So what if I'm the Lakers and no practice, no tickets, I ban him from Staples? Well, he just said something over in Lithuania, and it apparently knocked the ship off its course.
You can't control that.
That's what I'm saying, is so deal with it.
We're arguing something completely different. That was the previous conversation. Right. This conversation is about media responsibility. And the media used to, you just didn't print everything someone said.
Yeah, the horse is out of the barn now.
Right, there used to have to be some truth back or some substance. It had to be somewhat responsible. And so, look, the media has not handled its job well, and the public doesn't trust us. But part of the reason why the public doesn't trust us is because we've acted irresponsibly, and now anything goes. And what Carlisle and Steve Kerr are saying, that organizations like Fox, like ESPN, LeVar Ball's running off at the mouth, that's beneath you. Put that on the big lead, put that on Deadspin, but legitimate news organizations should hold the guy to a higher standard. They're not saying avoid his comments, but put him in context.
Yeah, they're competing.
Years ago, here's the way it worked. Basketball players played basketball. And then their agents got them cologne deals and clothes deals and on GQ and in magazines. So the players said, you give me the money, I'll do it. And the players loved it, and their agents loved it, and the league loved it because it made their players stars. So they've opened up the canvas. Used to just play. You played basketball, bought a ticket, went. The canvas has been opened. Fashion, media, hip-hop, music. Well, now part of that big opening you've fostered through your agents and your PR and marketing people is TMZ, cameras everywhere, goofy dad. You open this up. If you just want to play basketball, give back your shoe money, get off the TV shows, get off the cover of GQ. Basketball players welcomed the celebrity part of the game. Back of the uniform name, bigger than the front. That's why they're millionaires.
Well,
that's why they retire in golf a lot.
You got to give that to David Stern because
that's
he knew
right.
that the league, in order for it to prosper, they had to promote the individuals.
And so wait, hold on, Jason. If all of a sudden the mainstream media just stopped covering LeVar Ball, do you think it's going to go away? Because it's going to be on blogs, social media?
I don't think you're listening to it. I didn't say stop. I said they can't cover LeVar Ball the same way the big league does.
But they know that's where the traffic is.
I'm not saying avoid it. What Rick Carlisle was saying, and he said it very clearly, put some context around. You can run his comments, but give the Lakers a chance to respond. Go to get some sources to find out whether what he's saying is true. He stated no one wants to play for Luke Walton. Well, send your reporters to go find, is that accurate? And if it's not remotely accurate, don't use the quote from LeVar just
You're
because
right,
he spouted
but
off
that's
the
in
opinion.
the 24-hour news cycle. With the social media, it's sped up to 24 minutes.
I understand that.
Yeah,
But what he's arguing is that ESPN isn't the big league. Their standards should be higher than yours. And there's some legitimacy to it. And I
would
put
agree.
Fox in that same group. Our standard has to be higher than a blog's. It's not, and that's why we have a reality star president.